What's up, everybody? So, looking through the very slow news day on Thursday, I came across a lot of articles, what happens if, what happens when articles. Frankly, I didn't want to put you through that. But then I came across this article about the Mercury Music Awards, and a little spark went off in my mind. Now, I've been meaning to do a video on this for a while now, so here it is. This is as best researched as I could during my night shift, so it might be quite poor. Let's just have a look, shall we? The similarities between Boris Johnson and Donald Trump. Life in the media. Now, why would this article make me think about Donald Trump? Well, for two reasons. Now, I'm giving you a bit of a warning. This first picture is a little bit graphic. It's not real, but it's unpleasant anyway. I've reduced the size and the pixelated section should help. So, the first reason, you may remember this picture when comedian Kathy Griffin posed with a model of Donald Trump's severed head. How pleasant. And the second reason, we have this from the Tony Awards last year when Robert De Niro on live TV shouted F Trump repeatedly. Now, both of those very classy and well thought out criticisms, clearly. Well, back to the original article here. So, this edgy performance by Slow Thigh, is that how you say it? Doesn't seem so edgy anymore. It's been done before, just about somebody different. To be fair, I've never heard of Slow Thigh before, and frankly, that type of music's not really my thing. I'm guessing it's grime or some such. If you've got any clue, leave a comment below. I'd probably appreciate it. I should do the research myself, I really just can't be bothered. So the point here is to ask to just what degree do we see those similarities, and what might this tell us about Boris Johnson as Prime Minister? So we're going to look at Boris Johnson and Donald Trump. Now, you can't miss the message when you're watching the news in the US. He's a racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, sexist, misogynist. Well, they're of course talking about Donald Trump, and they've been levelling these criticisms at him since he rode down that escalator and announced his run for the presidency. Now, before this point, he was the media darling and the epitome of the American dream. And yet, despite these epithets, he became president. And he's still in office. And he's still not been impeached. And he still has a mass of supporters, as seen at his rallies. And it still looks like he could possibly get a second term. Now, if you don't follow the US media, let me assure you that the attacks on Donald Trump have not stopped for his entire presidency. Day after day, constant attacks and mockery, but the president does not care. I mean, he famously said, I could shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters. Now, as ridiculous as it seems, this phrase explains a lot. It is said that Democrats take Donald Trump literally and not seriously, whereas Republicans take him seriously but not literally. Now, the next time you hear him speak or see a news story on what he's been saying, consider what he says not literally, and I guarantee you it will make a lot more sense. Now, we have to remember that saying something racist and being racist are different things. A few days ago in the news, I read about somebody who got into trouble for singing along to a song that contained the N-word. Now, while I agree that it's never a good idea for anybody to say those types of words, just you try thrashing out to some Body Count or chilling to some Snoop Dogg without coming across those words. So, would we say that the woman in this case was racist if she sang with a song with those clearly racially charged lyrics? I think that context is everything, and the same goes for all of the words used to describe the president. And so with that, we'll have a look at Boris Johnson and see what's been said about him. So essentially in 2015, Boris Johnson, he called Donald Trump's claims that police officers were afraid to go into some parts of London because they are so radicalised. He called that complete nonsense. He also said that Donald Trump was out of his mind for suggesting that Muslims should be banned from entering the US. Now, in late 2016, as Foreign Secretary, Boris Johnson performed a U-turn and said he was looking forward to working with Donald Trump now. Now, this is how politicians should be. This is how it should work. You work with what you have. You might not like the dictator or the leader of another country that you have to speak to, but you have to speak to them. Now, it appears that Boris is on the same track as Boris Johnson. So, we've got to consider, will the press create another Teflon media monster like Donald Trump? So, in regards to charges levelled against Boris Johnson, it's been said he's Islamophobic, much like the president. In August 2018, he was reported to the Equalities Commission because he made a comment that Muslim females wearing the burqa look like letterboxes. Again, in 2005, he wrote in The Spectator that he believed it was only natural for the public to be scared of Islam. To any non-Muslim reader of the Quran, Islamophobia, fear of Islam, seems a natural reaction, and indeed exactly what the text is intended to provoke. So that's some of the charges that he's been given, that he's Islamophobic. We'll have a look at the ways in which he's been accused of sexism. In 1996, when he was a journalist for The Telegraph, he came up with the totty meter at Labour conference. So he was clearly looking at the ladies and giving them a rating, essentially. In 2005, for the general election campaigning for Henley, he told voters that voting Tory will cause your wife to have bigger breasts. Okay, sorry. Couldn't stop a laugh on that one. In 2012, at the London Olympics, he was the mayor, obviously. Johnson told his readers of the... I'm going to laugh at this one as well. Told his readers of the magnificent experience of watching semi-naked women playing beach volleyball, glistening like wet otters. Okay, get that one out of the way. Okay, now he's also been accused of being homophobic. In a Telegraph column about Peter Mandelson's resignation from the Labour government, Johnson said the announcement would lead to the blubbing of tank-top bum boys in the Ministry of Sound nightclub and the soft-lit Soho drinking clubs frequented by Mandy and his pals. Okay, again, another laugh. It's just the words are funny to me. I'm not being non-inclusive. It's just the words that are used in this that's making me laugh. So that's him being accused of homophobia. A few examples of him being classed as racist. So in the Telegraph in 2002, Johnson referred to a visit to Africa by Tony Blair. He said, "What a relief it must be for Blair to get out of England. It is said that the Queen has come to love the Commonwealth, partly because it supplies her with a regular, cheering crowds of flag-waving pickaninnies." He wrote, referring to African people as having watermelon smiles. Now, obviously, Boris Johnson said that this was taken out of context, and a lot of this is about context as well. Now, I believe you'll be seeing a lot more articles in the press containing the name Boris Johnson and a smattering of these words throughout them. As evidenced by the fact that all of the above and many other incidents, which, to be fair, too many of them to list here, Boris Johnson still became Prime Minister. We have to consider Do we have a sexist, homophobic, racist, Islamophobic PM? I mean, after most of these incidents, the capital city still voted him in as mayor. So to me it appears this way. Some people are going to see the Prime Minister as all of these things. Other people are not going to be seeing these things he said in that way at all. Now, these are opinions and not objective facts. What one person sees as a racist, another person doesn't. Now, like Donald Trump, Boris is a polarising figure, as you would say it, a Marmite type of person. Both of these men are definitely not politically correct. They will both say what they think, almost having no editing before they speak sometimes. And both of these men don't seem to care what other people think of them. Now, Boris Johnson is almost a populist, and yet clearly not. Clearly he is not a populist, whereas we would probably call Donald Trump a populist. So, what do you think? Am I clutching at straws here, or do you too see the similarities between Boris Johnson and Donald Trump? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Appreciate you spending time on this video. Like, share, subscribe if you appreciate what we do.